Hopefully so far you've learned about the North Pole, the South Pole, the Northern Hemisphere, the Southern Hemisphere, and the Equator and Prime Meridian. So the Equator and Prime Meridian are related to what we're going to be talking about today. So we have parallels and meridians. And you need to be open to page 14 and 15 in your book, and you're going to read along with me. Once we learn how to annotate in reading class, we'll do a lot of annotating in our books while we are reading together. So we can practice by, if you see me highlighting something, you can underline it in your book. Okay, so let's talk about parallels and meridians. Now these are kind of tricky words to say. That's why I want us to read this together. Okay. The equator and prime meridian are part of the system to identify absolute location. So if you watch that hilarious video, that pilot was having a very tough time trying to figure out where he was and where he needed to land. So these are imaginary lines that help you identify where you are. But there are many other lines that help. So we can't just have the prime meridian and the equator, can we? We need other lines, as you saw before. So parallels of latitude are imaginary lines that run around the Earth parallel to the equator. And this one's already highlighted for us, so that's good. So remember, parallel means they're never going to touch. So they're running this way, they're running east to west or west to east. Okay, and here we have meridians of longitude. They are imaginary lines that run between the geographic North Pole, remember north, and the geographic South Pole, they're south. So they're running up and down, which for when we're talking about globes, that is north and south. So these lines form an imaginary grid around the surface of Earth. We can use this grid to identify any place on Earth's surface. So if we want to know any place on Earth's surface, we can just figure out their latitude and longitude. So what I want you to do is I want you to answer these questions. It says use the globes above to answer the questions. I want you to answer these to the best of your ability. Go ahead and pause the video and answer those, and I'm going to move on to the next page. Okay, page 15, latitude and longitude. So latitude describes a location on Earth's surface in relation to the equator. So here's the equator, it's at 0 degrees latitude. Remember that little tiny circle right there means degrees. It also means degrees for temperature. Degrees of latitude measure a location's distance north or south of the equator. So right here, we're at 0 degrees. Right here, we're at 30 degrees. What do you think's in between? That's just a math question for you. Latitude describes a location. Oh, it's not letting me highlight. Location on Earth's surface in relation to the prime meridian. So the prime meridian is located at 0 degrees longitude, and the degrees of longitude measure a location's distance east or west of the prime meridian. So north or south is latitude, east or west is longitude. Or not. Okay. So it says using the globes above, identify the latitude of location B in degrees north or south. Identify the longitude of location D in degrees east or west. So what I want you to do is locate B, and then you're going to figure out if this is 0 degrees and this is 30 degrees south, what is the location in degrees halfway, hint, halfway between 30 degrees and 0 degrees. And notice if all of these say south, what do you think this location is going to be? Okay, and then I want you to try your best and classify this information. You're going to either write latitude or longitude as your answer for each of these 6 questions.